All right. I am a little late to this party, but looks like Paul QUERRO at the table. His opponent is Aaron Probst, who was my teammate and Scotch partner for Fun Day Scotch. It was an extremely fun venture that ended up with us being able to be fortunate to take the victory there. We got almost double dipped, but came back in the second set to claim the victory. And Aaron's a hell of a player and a nice guy to boot. It looks like he's dug himself a little bit of a hole, but we kind of had that as our trend during Scotch. So if the past, if history repeats itself, then we're looking at maybe an comeback type situation. So I'm eager to see what Aaron's got. A very capable player, and like I said, just a nice guy. Uh, couldn't ask for more in a Scotch partner. Gives 100% effort. Blames himself when you miss. That kind of guy. All right, so we have a nice controlled break by Paul. Unfortunately, even though he can see the one ball, he is very close to his work and doesn't appear to have an offensive shot unless he's going to get a bit more creative than what I'm looking at. I'd imagine we're looking at some kind of safety, maybe thinning the one ball. I'm not sure exactly. Sending it down table towards the end rail and bringing cue ball 1, 2 rails back down by the 6 ball maybe. Yeah, something like that. All right, leaving Aaron a shot, and the problem with this table appears to be, I'm not sure that the 3 goes by to the 9 actually. The 7/8's got its own issues, but I'm not 100% sure that a 3 even goes by the 9. So might be looking at some kind of bank shot type situation. Aaron hangs the one ball, but we got a really unfortunate rattle there. But was playing for a position back down table and was looking to address that 3 ball. He got there, but didn't make the ball, but in the process ends up hanging and leaving a jump shot to Paul. Paul executes said jump shot and has a shot on the 3 ball. It is a little steep, but at this level of play, I'm thinking he might take this on. I mean, I could see him also perhaps ducking underneath and trying to play towards the 6 with the 9 in between. But yeah, the offensive shot is there. All right, so it looks like he's got just a little bit of angle to be able to stun over for the 5 ball after making the 4 in the bottom left corner. Very nicely done. I think he was actually looking. I'm not exactly sure. With the current angle that he's got, it looks like he's. I'm not sure if he's going. He looks like he's going forward. That was very nicely done. Okay, so now here, do you play for the side or do you play for the safe? Do you play to try and go into them? From what I've been seeing from his game, I'm not saying that. I don't think that he's trying to go into those balls from there. Oh, he did. And it looks like he Got a little unfortunate. Now, oh, actually, he hung the ball, so he got kind of a roll. I don't think Eric could see this ball. I had assumed that ball had gone down, and it doesn't get further in the pocket than that. That is hanging by a thread. The problem with this ball is I don't think you can see it, and I don't really think you can go rail first because it's so deep in the pocket. And it's a tough place to be. Oh, he could see it, but unfortunately, the amount that he could see made it so that he followed it in. Looks like he was trying to spin it back out of there. Maybe the deflection got him a little bit more of the ball than he wanted. So now we are looking at a 3-ball out. The ball in hand for Paul. I am of the superstitious nature, and if this doesn't start to turn around soon, I might just make myself scarce and see if that can help motivate Aaron to mount a comeback. He's just gotten a few unfortunate rolls. He'll get himself into it, I'm sure. It's a solid play. All right, so Paul goes up 3-0 in a race to 7. Aaron will be at the table breaking. And yes, 9-ball is a game of ebb and flow, a game of swings, but at some point it starts to become a monumental task to dig yourself out of a hole. So I believe that this is a very key rack for Aaron coming up here. Check on the score of the match I was doing prior to coming over here, which is Jack's Pongponic match, and it appears that Jack's is up 2-1. All right, after a pretty good break, Aaron had a little doozy of a combo that hung up on him. Fortunately, he left the ball in the way, and now Paul has a kick shot. Very makeable kick shot. That becomes a very large 1 and a very large 2. Very large 1 because it's on the rail. Or actually very close to it. I'm not sure if it's actually on it, but and then the 2 is hanging. So from a variety of angles, that ball can still drop. Fortunately, I may have gotten Paul with a little bit of a commentator curse there. And even though he makes a good hit, the 2 is still on the table. Not 100% sure that Aaron can get enough of this 1 to send it towards the 2-ball. Might be forced to play a carom off the backside of the 1 using the cue ball. looked like he thought it went, so I'm thinking he's gonna actually take it on. But it looks like he fouled. Yeah, I didn't think that it. And yeah, Aaron is genuinely one of the nicest, most honest guys you're ever gonna meet. So, um, in that situation, even if that, I'm sure both players agreed that that's what happened. All right, so Paul was given ball in hand and has kind of done the one thing that he didn't want to. In going back and forth, he came up a little short and then left himself. I believe he's banking. Oh no, he took on the fin cut. He has hung the ball, and Aaron is coming back to the table with a 4-ball out, with the first ball being in the pocket. Those of you guys that are familiar with Mike D, this is a drill that he would suggest to pretty much everybody. Put 4 balls out on the table. Start with a very makeable shot, or even give yourself ball in hand, and make sure that you get your angles good and get out. Ouch. So it looks like Aaron has overrun his position and has hooked himself on the ball. Yeah. He's kicking 2 rails at this 5-ball. It was a great hit. And unfortunately has left the 5-ball in front of the side pocket. All right. So as I was indicating earlier, I am a bit superstitious, and I will probably be vacating the mic here shortly, and seeing if that can help prompt my buddy and Scotch partner. Paul left himself a little bit steep, but from what I've seen from his game, should be pretty makeable still. And this ball goes around into the 2 rails, back out pretty easily since it's cutting it so thin. I got the commentator curse again going. Right. Well, let's see if Aaron can capitalize on this opportunity. Doesn't have the easiest of shots. But gens it. And leaves himself a very makeable 9-ball. Takes his time, gets through the ball nice and clean, and brings the score to 3-1. 3-1 is significantly better than 4-0. I'm sure that getting on the scoreboard brings a sigh of relief, and hopefully you can loosen up and start to apply some pressure to ball. And let's see a good match. The match before this, Paul seemed, let's see, I was watching that match, and Georgia was down 6-0 at one point. I think I think it was 7-1. Almost go. Yeah, that match ended up being 7-1 Paul. Paul was sent to the B side by Paul was sent to the B side by Dylan Andrade of Idaho, who went on to beat Milan Kopecky and then went on to beat Aaron. So that's how they got here. Paul went through the B side afterwards, and let's see here. So he gets put to the B side and beats Brett Ekstrom 7-5. Beats Michael McGovern 7-5. Gets by Jose Galeana 7-6. And then, yeah, he just rolled JoJo 7-1. Coming into this match, building a bunch of head steam, lots of momentum, feeling pretty good about your game. Aaron went a little further on the front side before losing to the same player. So Aaron started off his journey with a bye, then faced Brett Sherman, winning 7-5. Oh wait, no, this is not. This is a different year completely. Navigate this, I swear. Okay, so 2025. Platinum symbols. There we go. Aaron. This is not the right one either. I swear I'm gonna get this right. Oh, 8-ball. Okay, here we go. 9-ball. Boom. Aaron started off with a match against Ray Lingenfelter, winning 7-3. Joe Barbosa, 7-1. Liam Zachnich got by him 7-6. Beat Timothy Hoffman 7-2. Brett Sherman 7-5. And then eventually falling to Dylan Andrade 7-4. And this is his first match on the B side. They are currently playing for, I believe, 5th, 6th. Wow, what a cut. What a cut. Paul comes with it. Can't really see where the cue ball landed. Seems like it's still on the table, even though it was tracking towards that pocket. Well, that was, I didn't even see that. That was very creative. Unfortunately, he's covered up his next ball. Oh, it looks like he's kicking to the far corner. The way that he's measuring that up using the mirror system. Might have to compress the rail a little bit. Oh, what a shot. All right, back Back in shape, back in line. Probably looking at a long 8-ball. Nice little stop shot or a little bit of draw. Paul has a very effortlessness to his game. It's a very oh no. Oh no. So yeah, leaves the hanging 9-ball, doesn't have Aaron shoot it. It is 3-2 now. Looks like I'm hanging out with you guys. All right, so Aaron, back into it. We'll take them how we can get them, buddy. Aaron back at the table, breaking, has won the last 2 games. But as I was saying, Paul has a really nice, like free flowing, very effortless style of play. Um, even even when he got out of line there, came with a nice kick shot and then got right back in the line. That was pretty impressive. Okay. Fades the little kick there as it looked like he was maybe get unlucky and have that cue ball kicked on the side. I believe that is the 4-ball of tables. So I believe that he's currently hooked on the 2-ball, probably looking at pushing out. I'm pushing out. I'm probably pushing to this area, leaving a thin edge of the of the 2-ball. But let's see what Aaron does here. He ended up kicking at the 2-ball and almost kicked it in. Got very unfortunate and actually ended up with the cue ball in the drink. Giving Paul a ball in hand with a great opportunity with a ball that's hanging. And most balls are out in the open. Pretty sure with the shape, with the way the 6 is naturally, the shape on the 7 to 9 is not going to be hard. I mean the 7 to 8, 9. So I mean it's looking pretty golden for him here. Not seeing. Yeah, I mean, he could overrun that maybe and have hooked himself on the 8, but I mean, I don't see anything going wrong here. Um, yeah, he left himself pretty tic-tac-toe. The trickiest part is from 8 to 9, but I don't think that it's going to present a problem. Can very easily go 2 rails, and oh, looks like it might be drawing. Interesting. That was interesting. If he had gone higher on the ball, he'd have gone 2 rails and it would have naturally gone that way, but he chose to punch it, and because of that, it like essentially, I mean, it kind of reversed some of the English, reversed some of the angle, and killed a bunch of the momentum on the cue ball, and he's left himself really awkward. So he decided to play what my buddy Mike D refers to as the APA safe, which in this situation was a solid play. Looks like Aaron is looking to thin the 9 ball and then run the cue ball back to bank shot. It's about as good as you can ask for in that situation. I do believe that Paul would probably take this on. I don't see him returning safe and playing the same shot that he just played. I could be wrong, but I think that he's taking on the bank shot. Yep. Very nicely done. Paul goes up 4-2. Let's try and learn about Paul QUERRO. Is that what I'm saying? If I'm saying wrong, I apologize. Paul, it seems, does not have a social media presence, which isn't very surprising. It looks like he might be a little bit older, but I believe he's from the Washington area. I'm sorry, I don't know much about Paul. Aaron is from the Salem, Oregon area. All right. So let me see. I should probably check in on the chat. Some of you guys can tell me. There we go. All right, so tree tucked above a ball is not an ideal place to be, especially shooting a ball that is that far away. But if you're Paul, no sweat. But in that situation, he wasn't able to do much with the cue ball, leaving himself pretty much the length of the table away from his next ball. I believe we'll see saying some kind of safety here, which leaked out, unfortunately. from behind the three ball. Aaron comes to the table with a very makeable two ball, and I believe that three does pass the five. It doesn't have to do as much work as if it didn't. Now, the reason I think he was trying to get to that side of the ball is to try and get on the four ball. But it's gotten a little bit close to his work and a little bit awkward of an angle. So I'm thinking we're looking at playing safe. We're looking at thinning it and sending it down. Ideally behind the four ball. Came up a little bit short. Now this ball is makeable. It does go past the five ball, but the problem with is the cue ball is going to run directly into eight ball afterwards, and it's going to end up essentially being between you and your next ball, which is the four ball. Might be able to put a little bit of insight on it, and then go to that side. But in the process of doing that, you make the three ball a little bit harder, and now Aaron's back at the table. Aaron actually has a very nice angle to try and naturally go towards that four ball. The side pocket looms a very large obstacle in the process. But if you can avoid the side pocket, then you actually probably have a good shot into the side pocket. Aaron's checking if it goes in the corner, and it looks like it might pass the nine ball. Rub the five ball a little bit, and that made the shape on the five ball a little bit trickier, but cue ball should be naturally tracking towards the correct area once making this with a little bit of a stun shot. All right, so now he's left a very makeable four ball. The five becomes a little bit tricky because the cue ball is coming back across the table, and you really want it to be on that side of the table for the five. So it becomes one of those: do you hold it or come back across? With Paul's stroke, I've seen that I think that he tends to hold things, which is, you can't argue with those kind of results. I, on the other hand, prefer to go across, as I can't do what he just did. If I do what he just did, I'll just hang them all. Nice little nudge there. Was looking pretty close to his work and pretty straight before that nudge. So should make this pretty easy and simplistic, but actually I commentator cursed him again. Yeah, just the natural angle, if you just pocket that ball, was going to lead towards the eight being, I mean, you're going to make it in the side, but naturally that the cue ball was going to track towards the bottom of the table, leaving you a great shot on a nine in the pocket. Just really had to make it, and took his eye off the prize for a second. That's what it appeared. It's a good lesson for all of us. So even the lower rated players that may be watching, like even at this level, which is damn near 600, gotta remain focused. Stroke through. It's a lot of pace there. Aaron subscribes to the same school I do. Is we're gonna hold things or we're gonna stroke it. We're gonna stroke it. Um, so yeah, again, cue ball is tracking towards the bottom of the table, which will leave a great shot on the 9 ball. This one you probably want to actually hit a little bit harder to come back up off the end rail, towards the 9 ball. Maybe not that close, but works out. Let's go. All right, way to calm down, bear down. It was like a very nervy rack, nervy type situation for both players. Getting down towards the end of platinum singles, and that's one of those outs that even 4-2, even down 4-2, if you're on the A side, probably isn't that hard. But if you're down 4-2 on the B side, all of a sudden becomes a lot trickier than the balls lay. So kudos to Aaron for getting out there, and yeah, lots to learn. Always in these situations from everybody. Um, People that you probably look up to, league night kind of this type situation. Everybody's human. Everybody feels the pressure, and how you overcome that and deal with that makes you a good player. So Aaron's on a little bit of a roll here. It was looking like pretty bad news bears for a second. It's down 3-0, I believe. And 4-3 is a big tilt. So hopefully he can keep some of this momentum rolling. Not rooting against Paul by any means. I just, I'd like to see some good pool and a great match. I do personally have, vested interest in my buddy Aaron, but um, although I do root for him to play well, I don't root for others to play bad, if that makes sense. You know, so looks like Paul is jumping out with the short stick. Looks like he has to come over the edge of the 7 ball. Yet to see him use this one again with pretty much everything he does. It's pretty effortless looking. He didn't get the result he was looking for, but he is anything's but in ball in hand kind of type situation. It does appear that I would think that Aaron's probably going to duck and place him pretty much under that 4 ball. That's my guess. Ooh. So that leaked out, and unfortunately, it went towards the 9 ball. I do believe that the 3 goes past the 9, so I'm not sure that he would take this on. Some people like to do these things, though. Yeah, you just never know. Mm, I don't know what it is. I have sometimes you see some old school players and they just go fly at the 9 ball. So Aaron had a tricky shot. Looks He looked like he was cutting the blind side of the ball for a second there, but I think I'd be playing this off the ball on the side. Yeah, it looks like that it was maybe what he was looking at, or no, maybe he was just playing safe the whole way. I'm not sure. He was like, "You just jumped. Let me see it again." I will say that if he does successfully execute this one, it's probably still going to be pretty hard to get on the four. All right, now this is a real opportunity here. I know that the four is not readily available. I mean, it might be at certain angles, but I believe even if you're playing safe afterwards, there's a lot of rack to be played here. That eight's in a terrible spot. Um, I know it's hard to make a ball and then play safe immediately afterwards, but sometimes that's the play, especially when you've got the momentum that you've been building is on your side. People's tendencies, natural, uh, human nature type situation. You want to keep that foot on that gas, but sometimes you got to pump the brakes. All right, here. Kicking the ball. I like kicking soft and trying to put him on a nine ball, but there was something like that where there was kind of a potential offensive shot as well that could have gone at the nine. So it was probably why he kicked a little bit harder. Also, kicking soft is no guarantee that you're going to get the rail kind of situation too. So unfortunately, the way the ball's laid out, it looks like this is going to be a pretty quick rack from what we saw earlier. Um, he took on a lot harder combo. This is not an easy one either, though. Um, he might be trying to sneak this by the backside of the nine. Yeah, interesting. From the camera angle, it looks like there's more nine in front of the pocket than there is, but um, that was pretty clean. Should go into the rail and back down, or maybe without the rail even. So yeah, trying to get underneath the eight ball. Looks like it came up a little bit short, but still should be makeable. It's just a little bit harder than it should have been. But Paul makes everything look easy. Very nice out. Up 5-3 in a race to 7. Let's see. Paul, if I can get some info for you from here. Paul QUERRO is from Fall City, Washington. His Fargo rating is 555. So we'll plug that into the equation here. We will put in Aaron's rating, which is, I believe, 575. 20 points difference. 555. 575. Odds. 2. He needs 4. Calculate. Currently, Aaron is a 76.6% to 23.4% underdog. But numbers are just numbers. Mm-hmm. Looks like RJ was in the chat. Yeah. Paul has a very just a calm offensive game. Haven't seen much of the defense, but haven't really needed to. Wow. All right, so made that with what looked like a bunch of inside because that cue ball went nuts afterwards. Looks like he's further down table than he was wanting. I think he was just trying for that corner pocket, but now he's heading in the opposite direction. But that makes it so he's going towards his next ball, which he overran a little bit. Kind of in the in-between area. It looks like he's elected to cut it into the side. Not sure that he's gotten there. That's really close. He's taking it on as if it's not. And then got safe. Oh, that's a hard reach too. Aaron, I believe, is actually left-handed, so this is something that he might be able to reach to jump. I would not be able to reach this. I would have to do some kind of bridge jump thing. Aaron is not left-handed. That's not bad. The way that Paul's been firing at Banks, though, I would think that this would be a safety any other play, but the way he's been firing at Banks, okay, he played the safe. So now, yeah, there's an opportunity, I believe, to try and go flying at the 9 ball. And for those that aren't aware of what Aaron's doing here, he's utilizing the mirror system, essentially visualizing a table next to that table. Ooh, getting a little bit of ooh. All right, so 3 rails into the corner and is a bit close to his 8 ball, but if you can bear down and it's hard to see these angles being that close to that ball though. You can bear down and make this one. It should be right there in front of the 9 ball for him at least. This is a lot tougher of a shot than a lot of people think, though. It's hard to visualize the angles because you've got the cue ball right there in front of it. It's not something that you're used to seeing in front of your object ball. Natural tendency is to overcut this shot a little bit. A lot of people undercut it because they're overcompensating for the natural tendency. I hit that one really good. He hit that one really good, and with the position that he was trying to get on the 9 ball, and the way that the speed that he hit the 8 and it rattled, at least he left a really tough cut shot here for Paul. Being that close to the pocket, and it's a little bit more forgiving if you play this with a speed that is kind of like, a little bit closer to being pocket speed. Cue ball's still going to run for you all the way down table. You could probably even make it to the other end rail and back out. You really just have to focus on pocketing the ball. Also, with as close as it is to the end rail, like natural tendency is to try and undercut this ball a little bit. It's just human nature. Like you've missed the ball in the past trying to cut the ball, overcut it essentially. Um, so people have just overcompensated over years, and in these situations, 9 out of 10 times you'll see them hit too much ball, and then it just hangs. And ideally, what you end up doing, even if you miss this ball, is overcutting the ball, and then it ends up going back on that end rail again. That would be ideal. The other thing that's possible because you aim to overcut this ball is that you don't hit it at all, but you hit it a little bit on the way out, and that's not the end of the world too. Like better than hanging it. The end result's probably about the same, but there were different outcomes that could have happened on the way to missing it that day. It looks like he was just playing safe the entire way. And that's an interesting shot. So I believe that he's left in the cut shot to the corner. I'm not 100% sure that he has the shot into the side. And then there's various safeties that Aaron can play here, increasing the distance between the two, trying to utilize the 9 maybe. Um, it looks like it might cut into the side, but it's just looked at. See if we can do the Zager trick. Aaron, your head's in the way. I'm trying to do the Zager trick. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. How do I clear this? Ouch. That's about the worst outcome that could probably happen in that situation, honestly. The 9 is a little tricky to get shaped for, but with the 9, yeah, with it just hanging like that, it becomes a lot easier. And Paul goes up 6-3. Oh, take that a little. That's awesome. All right, so now, right, see, that's what I was trying to do. I needed yellow. How come I'm not? Why do I not have yellow? Like highlighter yellow is my thing, you know. I'm changing it to green. Green doesn't show up well though. What a break. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 balls down. 3 balls down. You know, no one likes a combo right off the bat, but at least the ball is hanging. Better remove that template rack. Great control of the both the object ball and the ball that was used to combo, now becoming the object ball. He's got 2 to 5, which is also hanging, so is easy to get shape for. It's hard to not get shape for. Now he's left himself a little bit awkward. It's running down towards the end rail, but that is where the 6 is. So he leans into it a little bit. Came up short. Oh, that's the 4 ball. I thought that was the 8. Okay. It's going to have to come with a stroke here as we have to draw this ball. Yeah. It was going towards the short side. So we had to get into it and get out towards essentially the side long rail and then come back towards the 6 ball. And in the process of doing that, it made the 4 ball very difficult. And got a little bit of the point there. Luckily, he's left Paul not the easiest out. It appears that Paul's playing safe, putting the 4 under the 6 and letting the cue ball run. Aaron still has an edge of the 4, so I'd imagine we'd see him thin it and run it again, return safe. But in the process of doing so, he clipped it a little bit thick and got a lot of the 6, and separation occurred, moving the 4 towards the pocket. So now you're going to draw the cue ball a little bit towards the end rail. Interesting. That's not how I would have played it, but it works out well. I wouldn't have tried to bump the ball, but it's not. I'm nowhere close to the level of these guys, so I was probably trying to do too much. Regardless, it works for Paul.